Hey, good afternoon, everyone. 12 noon, East Coast. It's Carm Capriato, another Town Hall Academy. What number is this? 226th week right in a row as we take a single topic. We bring on a panel and we talk about it. It's a single subject forum. Glad to have you all here. Let me just give you a quick view of this great panel. There they are. There's the group. I'll introduce them in just a momentum. We're coming to you live from the Remarkable Results Radio podcast studio. And if you're with us on social media at all, and as the audience will build, check in with your city, give us a like, a comment, a share. We're also broadcasting live on the Remarkable Results .biz page. We're on LinkedIn and YouTube. And don't forget, every Friday at 12 noon, we do this. Wow, guys, look who's here. Bob Greenwood, CEO of the Automotive Aftermarket E-Learning Center. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Carm, Friday. Let's go at it.
Let's do this thing. I mean, God, this is what Fridays are all about. Bill Haas is with us from the Haas Consulting. Hello, William.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, buddy, out of Texas. And then Vic Tarasic, another Texas guy, formerly from Buffalo, my hometown. Vic Tarasic is here from Shop Owner Coach. Nice to have you, man.
Good to be here, Carm.
And as I think you're seeing the theme, this is a business coaches lab where these very esteemed coaches in our industry are going to nail this subject. I'm confident of it. Also with us is Cecil Bullard from the Institute of Automotive Business Excellence. Hello, Cecil.
Hello, Carm.
Good to see you guys. Hey, thank you for wanting to come in and talk about the industry needing a change. There's an awful lot of dialogue going on in my world. And I want to tell the audience, we're going to talk about, and in fact, these are the topic. Even if we don't get to these, we have to continue to talk about this hiring and keeping talent, the proper pay and benefits. These are all part of, if you will, think about the industry needing a change. Where is the career paths and the talent that we're going to hire? How about the word professionalism? Have we forgotten that, or are we going toward it? And one of you guys I know wants to talk about the status quo. It's gone. It's got to go. We have to build something brand new. Find your right customers, not your wrong ones, the ones that care about, that will pay your price. And pricing is just not reflecting the investment that we're making in equipment and training and all the high-tech stuff that we're working on. And frankly, guys, we talk about this healthcare thing all the time. I cannot stop drawing a parallel between the healthcare industry and what we do. In fact, I think it works. It works so nice. And it works so seamlessly. Hey, before we jump into our first segment, let's do let's pay some homage to our sponsors. When was the last time you heard a customer say, "Thank you for taking my money"? Thank you for taking my money. Get Shopware's shop management software, and your customers will be shouting it from the rooftops in overwhelming 5-star reviews. Learn more at getshopware.com. And does your social media truly represent your shop, or is it just plain vanilla generic posts? Well, it doesn't have to be that way. The experts at Shop Marketing Pros listen and create social content that connects you to your community on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, guys. Wow. Thanks again for being here and tackling this topic. Next Friday, just to give you a little tease, we're going to do a shop new build. And Seth Thorson, that's easy for me to say, and Tony Vandenetti, or Troy Vandenetti are going to be with us. Recently, new shop builders. We're going to get inside, see some pictures, talk about why and how they did what they did. A couple of great guys are going to share their new build stuff. So much new build going on, guys. You must all have clients that could be possibly in that shape or form, or finally decided to buy the ground and build a building, right? which is, I know, is something you guys are always saying. Hey, look, let's start this great topic out. What the industry needs a change. Vic, I want to go to you, and I want to tackle, and everyone together, I want to tackle the word professionalism right out of the chute here.
Professionalism can take on a lot of different aspects. How you answer the phone, how you interact with the customer. Does your technician have a ball cap on backwards and shows up in the front of the shop? What's the shop look like from the front? Are professionalism, like you said, compare it to the healthcare industry. Would you go to a doctor who showed up in his tennies and shorts? Probably not. So professionalism can take on the image. It can take on the way we act with the customer. It can take on how the shop owner treats your technician. Is he expecting, and is he training? Is he paying for training? It starts from the back of the shop all the way to the front. There needs to be a process for everything.
Vic, I have noticed in the weekly show that we do called Aftermarket Weekly, where we do a shop tour, more and more is going on, guys, inside of shops. There's more remodeling being done. The lobbies are getting cleaner. There's paint going on the building. There's more employee amenities going on. And if we were going to say to ourselves, there's a fever out there of improving our operations to get more professional. Guys, how is it that a percentage of the industry is getting it and another percent isn't?
There's, the problem, I think, is a lot deeper than just fixing the shop. It's fixing our own brains as an industry. I still believe that we don't see ourselves as professionals. We don't see ourselves on the same level as doctors and lawyers and accountants. And until we figure it out, where does anything start in a company? With the owner. Mm-hmm. When the owner says, look, this is who we're going to be and this is who we are. And then the industry as a whole needs to take that leap. Earlier you said the medical industry. Well, they have the AMA, right? The American Medical Association. And there isn't a doctor that can practice without being a member of that association and abiding by the rules, right? And yeah, there's a few there, there's 5%, 10% idiots that don't abide by the rules and they get arrested or but in our industry, we have too many shops that they're not there. They're not at that place. We're better than we were 10 years ago. We're a lot better than we were 20 years ago, but we're not where we need to be today.
Can I illustrate your point, Cecil?
Please.
There's a shop in Canada. The owner operated for 20 years with his wife. He had to take a 1-year medical leave. So his wife went back, ran the shop. What's the first thing she did? Put a coat of paint on the building. Plants out front, plants inside, cleaned the shop up. Fast forward 8 months. The shop owner was on medical leave. He sneaks out of the house. He comes to the shop. He stands behind the service advisor and he's like, whoa, wait a second. You can't charge that much for this. Right. And then he goes, go talk to the boss, his wife, where a spirited conversation ensued in the office. And
wait a minute. Stop. Wait a minute. A spirited conversation ensued.
Yes, a spirited conversation ensued where he was telling her, he told her, you can't charge this much. And she, like I said, a spirited conversation. And she said, look out the window. The lot's packed. Do you recognize any of those vehicles? He goes, no. He goes, we've turned the entire customer base over from the cheapskates that we used to cater to folks that recognize quality, recognize the building. They put a coat of paint on the building and gussied it up. And what did the neighbors do? They noticed. So people are now driving in Lexuses, Acuras, and are willing to pay the price, all because we took the shop owner who had a skinny goat mentality out of the shop for a period of time and put his wife in place, who didn't have that preconceived idea on what we could charge.
So Vic, had he looked at the bank account lately?
I'm certain that the bank account's much higher.
Yeah. Here's the thing. This whole professionalism thing for me ties so nicely to the biggest issue that everybody wants to talk about in our industry, right? Oh, you can't get help. You can't hire help. Well, if you don't have a professional shop, why would somebody want to come to work for you? And I think, that's something that we should really, as shop owners in this industry, focus on is, why are the best people not working in your store?
Mhm.
Look in the mirror and figure it out. Because it's not because the other place that's better is better. It's because you're not as good as you're supposed to be. And that's what professionalism is. Look at, why do people not come into our industry? Well, apparently there's some stigma about a lack of professionalism, or they'd be lined up waiting to come into the industry.
This industry is it's not the cool place to go to work. The cool
That's
place
right.
to work today is in front of a computer.
And the unfortunate part about professionalism, it starts in our education system and the way they bring it to the table. There's an ironic view of the traditional meaning out there. For decades, a professional was exactly what a technician, shop owner, or parts supplier was not. And I'm sitting here shaking my head. It's always been assumed that there was a higher purpose to professional activities than merely making a living, we say. And this put people at a higher social status rather than in the trades, as the school system calls it, who in turn assume they only interested in making money on their current work. Our education system is guilty of promoting a concept. And we've got to seize the opportunity to work with education systems to change this around. Professionals are supposed to know the stuff. We know our stuff. The technicians out there are phenomenal, and the best shops get it.
Right.
They're definitely professional. They know exactly what they're doing at any given time. But here we are.
So, Bob, I gotta throw something in there for you.
Yep.
So, why are those professionals leaving our industry?
Well,
Why would you come in our industry as a technician?
Well, yeah, but I think
Somebody
that's
wants-
a valid point, Cecil. But I think if we just look at the people that are in the industry and go, hey, we've got some really smart people. We've got some guys that know how to do the work, and they're smart. Why are they leaving the industry? Because that's a problem that we haven't talked about for 30 years, is the people that have left the industry. And I'm sorry, but to me, that's about our professionalism.
If I come in the industry and I'm here, let's say I've been here for 15, 20 years, what does the average technician make? I saw some numbers that made me want to throw up. Under $50,000 a year, the average technician. So we got some great guys out there in great shops making $100,000 a year, but they should be making $150,000 a year. You can't, for $50,000 a year, you can't take care of your family. You can't send your kids to a good college if that's what you want to do. We ask people to come in our industry. We pay them peanuts. We ask them to invest in education and tools. When I came to the industry, I spent $5,000 a year for the first 10 years on tools. And back then we weren't making what they're making today. And today it's got to cost twice as much, maybe 3 times as much to get tooled up. Why would you stay in an industry where you're treated like this?
and you look at management, and what are they doing? They're running their business based on a price. In other words, they're setting their labor rates as a market issue, but labor rates should reflect your competency in your shop. And if you've got great technicians, you charge for it.
Labor rate should be based on a profit strategy and nothing else.
Yep, I agree.
How much money do we need to make? And this is what we're going to charge to make the money we need to make.
Yes.
And I want to touch back on what Cecil was saying about getting this guy in, and here's the average wage is $50,000. Not only are they not getting paid what they should get paid, but then we're hoping that their wife has health insurance so we don't have to provide it.
Right.
And there is no retirement. And
but that's not going to change if our heads don't change in the industry.
Yeah.
We have this conversation all the time amongst the coaches. we're reaching 10, 15% of the industry, maybe, right? And somebody always goes, Cecil, I think you're being generous, when I say we're reaching 15% of the industry. So there's 85% of the industry that's not paying attention. They're not involved. They're not invested. They're struggling day to day just to make a living and to try to survive, and they're not thriving, but they're also not thinking correctly in their heads.
Could I bring something to the table? What is the commodity sector doing for the service shop sector? How they train them? Do they bring true education, or do they bring sales courses to the table? The commodity, I've heard it all my life. The commodity sector talks about being price competitive. The first question they walk in when they ask a shop owner, are you busy? You don't want to be busy. You want to be steady if you knew my business. And be price competitive, that is in the commodity world.
But people, there's this idea that I have to be cheap to keep my shop full.
No.
In the commodity set, what you call the commodity, I call it fast food auto repair myself, but there's this idea that I've got to run $29 oil changes, $19 oil changes, and fill my shop. Even amongst the other 15%, the better shops that I would say, they still think that a busy shop is a profitable shop.
No.
Right.
And that's not true.
It's not. And Cecil, you've heard me say this before. Send me a list of all the shops that went bankrupt because they charged too much.
None of mine.
None of mine. Never in my life.
Right.
I've seen a ton go down because they didn't know.
My price shops are doing better. They are the ones that are doing better, period. And there are customers. There's plenty of customers out there that understand. When I go out to eat, I don't go to McDonald's. I don't take my wife to the cheapest place. I go have a steak. I go to a place where I can sit down with my wife, enjoy a meal, have some conversation. And if I have to pay for that, I pay for that. And there's enough people in the world. And imagine if the whole industry just said, you know what? We're just going to raise everything 30%. Everybody, from the bottom guy to the top guy, the customers wouldn't have those people.
The customers wouldn't change.
They wouldn't have a choice. Yeah,
they wouldn't change.
Have a choice, right?
Well, how about this? Okay, the gravity of the fact that we work on something that their customers are putting their lives in our hands, and we're not charging for it.
Right.
But we don't even see it that way as an industry,
right? And that's what I'm saying. They don't get it.
And the world doesn't see that. I mean, their second largest investment for most people is their car.
Right.
It's in control of their money because it takes them to work and back. It allows them to go, their freedom, all of those things. And we take care of it. And we feel like we're the third rate guy fixing their car because I didn't go to college and get an 8-year education.
And the problem there is that the owner of the operation is looking at their business of what can I sell a customer? What kind of a job can I get in today to keep the boys busy? Rather than looking at their professional responsibility today. And their professional responsibility, and I'm adamant about this, is to manage that vehicle on behalf of the client for safety, reliability, and efficiency. That's why we're being hired. We've got to approach it like that.
Yeah, we do. We take care of that car. That's our job. Just like my doctor takes care of me physically. If he sees something going on, he says, Cecil, we need to do this. You're getting to this age. We need to do this. That's where we need to be with our client. I had a long conversation with a client yesterday. He's got a truck. His own truck's got 250,000 miles on it. Hasn't had coolant hoses. I'm like, you're an idiot. I would drive that truck around town, but I would not take it out of town. And if my wife was driving that truck and it blew a hose, you know what my wife would do? She would drive home with it or wherever she needs to go and burn the engine up. Right. We need to be taking care of that vehicle, and we should be taking care of our own.
Well, you said job. How about it's our duty and responsibility to the customer to report to them what their vehicle needs and allow them to make the choice. We should not be taking away their choice by overlooking something or not documenting it.
And that's where the whole concept of a good comprehensive inspection comes in.
But there's this fear out there, and we've all seen it and heard it. Every single one of us hey, you need to raise your labor rate $10 an hour. I can't. My customers believe
let's
me.
talk about that fear. Because I think a lot of what we're all after here today is how do we change this industry by making people more successful, which means they're going to be profitable. What is that fear? And I think Carm's trying to say something.
Bill, hold that thought, because I really want to come back to you, and I want to continue the conversation about professionalism, wages, and how it relates to pricing, because I think that's where you want to go next. I'm just guessing that that's maybe where you want to go. We'll come back for segment B here in 30 seconds. Hey, digital communication makes it easy for your customers to understand the value that you're providing when you fix their car. You'll feel appreciated, your staff will feel appreciated, and most importantly, you'll sell the work to pay the bills. Go on the web, learn all about it at getshopware.com. And does your social media truly represent your shop, or is it just plain vanilla generic posts? Well, look what, it just doesn't have to be that way. The experts at Shop Marketing Pros listen and create social content that connects you to your community. Check them out on the web at shopmarketingpros.com. Hey, thanks for being here. This is hot and heavy, guys. Thank you. I knew this would come out like that. Bill, I want to rock right over to you. If we're going to pay a professional wage, we're going to have a more professional company, we've got to have pricing that makes a difference.
Yeah, so I think Cecil brought up a really good point, right? That's the common thing we hear from people, right? Oh, I can't raise my prices, I'll lose all my customers, right? What is this inherent fear with all these people that are business owners that prevents them? And it's hard for us. I want to be the first to admit it. It's hard to move some of these people off of that, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I think sometimes in our own brains we have that. I was talking to a business coach's coach yesterday, and she said, "You're not charging enough." And I said, "Well, yeah, but I can't because, right? I can't because, I don't know, so many. I think it goes back to that root of, I don't have that value, right? They won't pay for it. They won't, and we believe our customers won't pay, or we believe that our employees won't stay with us if we, hold them accountable for productivity and quality and things like that, education. I don't know how we get rid of it, because I think it's an internal thing. As an industry, it's an internal thing.
A lot of good employees leave a company because bad employees stay. And
Absolutely.
Good employees I want to be accountable and make sure everybody else is accountable, just not me. And let's move this forward. And in a good culture of a shop, they've got a career mindset versus a job mindset.
Right.
They want to be part of the company and move it forward. Management, on the other hand, can be the biggest issue. And as Bill says, it's a fear. And I always said, you know what fear, the letters fear stand for? False evidence appearing real. It's all in your head. And you are trying to satisfy every single person that walks through the door. Can't be done today.
So
you can't. I mean, Bob, you're right. To me, the very first thing that a shop owner has to understand is everyone cannot afford to be their customer.
Yes.
Let's start right there. Just get out of this idea that I have to be everything for everybody. Exactly. Everybody can't afford to be my customer.
Exactly.
That's okay.
And they shouldn't be.
And no there way. Shouldn't be. And guess what? There are places for them to go. They don't have to go here.
And know as well as I do, there's a lot of customers out there that can't afford to look after the vehicle properly based on what they should be doing.
But
go ahead. Go, Cecil.
You also have coaches and consultants out there teaching people to lower their price to keep the job in their shop.
Wow.
Yes, you do. You're right.
It's insanity.
Yes.
I mean, because that's what they want to hear. More cars equals more money. No. And it makes me nuts. I mean, I'd like to grab those guys and choke them a little bit. You know?
Don't lose the job. Do whatever you have to do to keep that job. Don't lose that job. This is like the old major oil company mentality of we're going to, lower the prices of gasoline. We'll make it up on volume. How'd that work?
Yeah. Work harder, not smarter.
It's the race to the bottom.
But it's dangerous for the industry.
It is.
It is very
not about
dangerous.
one shop going out of business. It's about an industry that cannot support itself and is collapsing from within because we can't take care of our employees. We cannot pay nor make the kind of money that we should make.
Well, go back into the 80s when the parts suppliers would provide education. Did you ever wonder where that went? Because it started with shop owners. I need a better price. Then shop owners beat up the parts store. The parts store beats up the WD. The WD beats up the supply, the manufacturer. And guess what? They take the money out of the education budget.
Yeah.
And you're right, Cecil. It's hurting the whole industry.
Oh,
So
wait a minute, Vic. Now that
Yeah.
you hit on the parts thing, let's think about this.
Mm-hmm.
How many businesses have been sustained by a parts jobber waiting to get paid?
I mean, I wonder what their carry date is, how far out some of their people are. I bet they've got accounts 120 days out.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
They're just praying to get paid.
And I can't allow them to go to my competitor. I will wait to get paid rather than let them go to my competitor, right? So that's the man. So this is part of what's happened to shop owners. It's like, that's okay.
Hey, listen, Charlie Burke, Tracy, bring up Charlie's comment again from social media. We've had this black guy conversation too many times.
Bingo.
Let's talk about solutions. I mean, look in the camera and tell the guys that are sitting on the sidelines and they're not on the field of play what they need to do and why it's so important that this industry needs to change.
A professional association that you need to abide by as a shop owner and or a technician in the industry, controlled by the industry with government support and backing, just like the AMA. Some kind of standards. And for all those shops out there that are afraid they won't meet the standard, you probably won't, but we'll give you time. We'll grandfather you in. We'll teach you what you need to know. We need to reach the 85% somehow. I don't know how, through CARM, through Remarkable Results, through the Institute, through Haas Consulting.
Through CAMP.
Through CAMP. The Association of Management Professionals. We need to get together as an industry, stop bickering about stupid stuff, and have a goal to create professionalism within the industry, paths for technicians, service advisors, owners, managers, and real focused education that will improve the industry and create more dollars in the bottom line.
We need a certification process so that if you're thinking of opening up a shop, you're properly certified to open up a shop.
Can you describe that? I mean, we can call it, but what does that look like?
Certification?
The right tools.
Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? How does it happen?
Yeah, you need certification police. Come on.
The association. It has to be done
through an association.
We cannot let the government walk in and create the certification.
No, the industry's
we need to do it as an industry.
So is there an entity that exists today that could offer that?
No. There isn't. ASA, Milwaukee, they want to be associations, but they don't want to be the arbiter of the industry. The what's the
AMI?
Even AMI won't do it.
I know.
AMI doesn't have any skin. There's no teeth in it. Don't get me wrong; it's good for the industry, but there's no teeth. I'm AMI certified.
Yep.
In fact, I've written 25 classes for AMI and taught them. But it has no real teeth. What's the one that the technicians take? What is it? All of a sudden, ASE. But ASE doesn't want to do it either. Right. They want to be the tester, but not the association. They don't want to have the teeth. We need something that has teeth in it. That's what it's going to take.
So one of the questions that Charlie asked is, what could they do now? Okay, what we're talking about certification, that's a really long runway. And I think heading there, we need to go that way. But here's what we can do now.
I'm sorry, I just got to say this. 35 years, 40 years in the industry. We've been talking about this for 40 years and gotten nowhere.
But there starts the bickering. So one thing they could do right now, they could define their prime customer. If a shop owner were to step back and say, this is my target customer, this is who I do well with, this is who pays well, now market to them and learn how to say no to the others. Because when one bad customer shows up and you say no to them, your prime customer is going to be behind them and you're going to make room for them. That's what they could do today without joining an association, without getting a coach. I think everyone needs to be coached.
But the 15% are doing that, or a majority of them are, because they're our clients. And that's what we talk about. Find the right customer, bring the right person in your shop. You'll be more profitable. We're still not reaching the 85%. And the 85% is what's holding the industry back in that particular sense. Don't get me wrong. I want to reach those people so badly. But they're the ones that are holding the whole thing back. Every one of you has clients that are runners, and you know what I mean. They take every bit of education. They go like crazy. You know, Seth, that's going to be on your show, he's building his third shop. I mean, these are runners. These are people that head of the industry people. But then we have the rest, and I don't mind pulling along as many as I can grab, but I can't grab 85%. So you're right, Vic. We need to identify our customers. We need to raise our prices. We need to have a path for technicians. We need to have a path for owners, people that own shops. But until we reach the 85% and we have some form of path that we agree on that we can move forward with, I'm not sure how to make that happen, except for one customer at a time. And that ain't happening. I'm getting too old too fast.
You know what, guys, what about a grassroots effort? Could it ever be possible that 15, 20% top guys in the industry could go out and just drag a couple of more over the line?
Well, I think they could. I think that's a great idea. I think for well-run, successful shops to be able to go out in the community and say, let me help you. But there are people that don't want help.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
There are people that think everything's okay. So I want to go back to this fear thing, right? So this fear thing about getting paid what we should be getting paid, right? I'm just going to throw something out there that I think everybody could do right now is raise your prices. And I'm going to tell you what, there is not a better time to raise your prices than right now, because the price of everything is going up.
Inflation.
Have you seen the price of lumber? Have you seen the price of groceries? Utilities? Everything. It's almost like if you looked at us as an industry and said, we are all going to raise our prices. I'm not saying how much. I'm just saying raise your prices. The fact of the matter is we are sort of insulated from the fear of price because the price of everything is going up.
And if you don't pay attention to that, your costs are going up in your own business, and you're not looking to cover it, a point of margin here or a labor rate adjustment there, you're going to find at the end of the year, you got less in the bank.
But I'm working on the math. There's a mathematical formula that you can insert to figure out, and it will tell you if you raise your price a certain percentage, how many customers you can afford to lose and still be ahead of the game at the new price.
I've done the math, and it's about 25%. If you have a $10 increase, you could afford to lose 25% of your clients, and you would still make more money.
And you won't miss them.
No. And now you're working smarter instead of harder. And you have the time to develop these relationships with your clients.
But guys, it goes back to the fact that if we're going to hire the talent to move our business forward and invest in their training and pay them the numbers that they're worth, if they stay current, keep that education, become certified, that grows our business. It seems like everyone hears all this great stuff, but they can't see how the end result works for them.
Well, there is a problem, right? I mean, just look at when you're hiring people today, and I hear this from shops, they'll go, man, I found a really great tech, had a great interview. This guy's like the guy. I can't afford to pay them.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean you can't afford to pay him? You can't afford not to pay him. We should never be looking at how much we're going to pay somebody. We should only be looking at how am I going to charge enough to have sales that allow me to pay him what he needs to be paid.
Yeah. And if he's competent, he's got the build hours.
But
the build hours will cover him.
That's kind of one of the problems in the industry. We look at saving money as a way to be profitable.
Exactly.
Right.
Making money as a way to be profitable.
But guys, let's talk about the root. The root here, Bill. I'm going to challenge your thinking for this client, Bill. I'm trying to fill a third position in my shop. I have 2 techs. Here comes the guy I can't afford. What he's really saying to you is, I can't pay the other guys, but I'm going to pay this guy. Because it's not true. He needs to figure that out. But he's looking at not only paying him more than I normally would, but I've got to bring the other guys up to speed.
Absolutely. And that conversation happens too, right? Like, well, what if I pay him that much? Then the other guys want that much too. And it's like, they deserve that much.
Right.
Well, let's put it this way. The owner may not feel they deserve that much.
Well, then he's failed.
Yes.
And he's failed by not terminating poor performers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But we see that all the time because of this
Absolutely.
fear. I'm afraid that I won't find a better guy, another guy. I got to keep this guy.
No, wait, Cecil, it's worse than that, right? I'm afraid he won't like me.
Yeah. Well, don't like me. No, there's a lot of people who don't like me. It's okay.
I'm afraid he won't like
still
me.
Here. You know, we have to get over this fear. We have to, my father used to always tell me, he said, you have an overinflated sense of your self-worth. We all need to have an overinflated sense of our self-worth as an industry. I provide for your safety. I provide for your freedom. I keep your second biggest investment. I can charge for that, and I can charge a fair rate for that. And a fair rate today is not $100 an hour. No, I'm not saying that what the labor rate should be. We can't do that here. Nope. But your labor rate should be whatever it needs to be to support success in your business and being able to pay for and provide for your employees.
Yes.
So I want to chime on labor rate. So in my shop in 1987, I just got started. My labor rate was $62 an hour. So I was the cheapest in town. Just tracking inflation, you know what my labor rate would be today?
213, 215, somewhere right there.
148.
Yeah.
So how many shops are at that range? Some are above that. Not many are close to that. Now you can pay a okay wage from that. If you follow the typical benchmark of 25%, it's like $37 an hour. He's at 75 a year, and that's still following the cheapest shop in town. But how many got, I know folks who are just getting over the $100 an hour range.
There is not a shop in the United States or Canada that should not be at least minimum $200 an hour.
Right.
Period. End of sentence.
Right.
We just fixed that problem.
Yep. But baby steps. Start at $5 an hour or $10 an hour, but raise your rate somewhat.
Well, it's funny because I've talked to 3 or 4 potential clients, and their first thing is, well, you're just going to tell me to raise my labor rate. And my answer is, of course I am, because that's one of the ways to improve your business. I mean, there's 53 others, but that is one of the fastest ways to put more profit in your company and be able to provide for that guy I cannot afford.
And look at
Cecil, you know what? What's interesting to me about that is what we're going to do, right? But the real answer is we're only going to do that if your labor rate is incorrect. And unfortunately, your labor rate is incorrect.
So, but let's get back to Charlie's comment. How do we solve the problem? We have to, as an industry, rethink, which is kind of what we began this with. We need to rethink who we are as an industry, and we need the 85%, or at least half of them. We need them with us.
Right. We have to get out the message. We are now a knowledge-based profession. Everybody, the weakest shops out there, I've seen it, spend more time trying to beat up their parts suppliers for a better price rather than focus in on what should my labor rate for my knowledge be for the competency I have in my shop.
And we need to learn how to create value for the customer.
Yes, I'll challenge that value. How about the word unique? What makes you unique? And when you think about that, I'm unique. This is what I'm bringing to the table that the dealerships are not.
Right.
And we can beat them. And then you have these shops that are $20, $30, $40 less than a dealership. What? They work on one brand. You're working on all makes and models. You need more knowledge, more training, more equipment, more software. What are you doing? Unbelievable.
Okay. Hey,
Okay,
look
but
at
how do we get that message to all the people that need to hear it?
How do we help them listen?
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a choice.
one step at a time. At least I think my platform is attempting to help in that case. But you're right, Bill. Hey, look, I want to come back to segment C. We'll finish this thing up. Great debate, guys. Lots of great pointers. When was the last time you ordered something online? A burger from Grubhub, as an example. Your groceries from Amazon. How about things that are really high tech, like auto repair? Well, Shopware's online interactive repair orders lets you do just that. Check it out for yourself on the web at getshopware.com. And is your marketing company sharing the same vanilla social media posts for you that they do for every other shop? Well, that's not how my friend Kim does it at Shop Marketing Pros. They don't do business that way. They believe each shop is unique with its own story. Contact them today at shopmarketingpros.com. Okay, I want to bring this thing home. We don't have to leave. We can stay for another hour if you want. If you want. I'm getting hungry. Look at guys. We kept talking about you got to pay him $100,000. Cecil, you said 150. These are all really good points. But one of the things that I want to caution us that the industry is listening and says, "Wow, it's $100,000 a year. I'm not making that." And that poses the problem of inaction because their business isn't strong enough in so many regards to even have the owner take a salary like that home. But as the owner works toward that goal, one of the things I want to caution everybody about, because you guys have taught me this, is that the $100,000 may not necessarily be the cash every week, the cash in the bank. It could be retirement, incentives, PTO, longer vacations after 5 years, training incentives, bonus incentives for team, seeing the profit and loss statement and realizing where does the money come from. And that goes back to the great work that you guys do as coaches to help move your great clients off top dead center and do this kind of stuff. So yes, pay has to increase. Question, solution, how do we do it?
I think one thing that we have to do is get the owner to get the staff engaged into the business. The only thing that's confidential in your business is your balance sheet. But the staff should know, how does the revenue work? What's our cost per billed hour? What's the expenses to make this thing work? And the owner's got to teach the staff that net profit is not a dirty word. If we are not profitable on the bottom line, how am I going to increase everybody's wages? How are we going to have the best facility, the best culture, the best plans so that you can have a life outside this operation? I got your back, but we have to do this together. Putting all that weight on my shoulders? No, it's on all our shoulders. We're in this together. And if you don't want to be part of this, the bus door is open.
Automotive service and repair is a team sport. We win, we succeed or we fail as a team.
Exactly.
And we need to create the culture in our businesses of success, of value, of taking care of our customers and their cars. And if we can do that and get focused in the right direction, there's plenty of money to be made in this industry. I mean, I have shop owners that make tons of money and they pay their people tons of money. They provide things like air conditioning and medical and 401ks and tools and all kinds of things, while other shop owners are saying, I'm sorry, I can only pay you $17 an hour.
Yeah.
All of us as business owners need to understand our business, and our business is not really fixing cars. Our business is so much more than that.
Yeah.
And when you understand your business as a financial model, how I would put it, now you can start to see where I need to change, where I need to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how some 3 or 4 small adjustments can create tens of thousands of dollars in the bottom line.
That's right. And how to tweak that business. I have to understand my own business. And, I submit that running a service shop today is the hardest retail business to run today. With the complexity of it and how much is involved with it today. Unbelievable. This profession is really complicated. But when the owner doesn't have the desire to learn, I can't change that.
Yeah, but all those are really great points. It's all stuff that all of us do all the time. How do we get this message to the people that need to hear it?
We have to focus and target on the 85%. We got to get the 15% together, focused in a direction. We're trying to do that with camp. I know that Carm is trying to do everything he can to raise the industry through remarkable results. I think each of us as coaches and consultants are trying to do that.
Who sees the shop owner the most?
His wife or her husband.
No, in the industry. Who sees the shop owner?
The parts people. The parts
exactly.
people. That's
exactly.
That's
the parts. The parts,
tightest connection there is with the parts people.
Exactly. Now, how many parts salespeople understand the service shop business to talk about it properly?
But the parts guys are not going to do this for us because their job is to sell parts, and they're always going to have that as their primary job.
But Cecil, if they improve their customers' business and their shop grows and is more profitable, they'll be buying more parts.
You know what, Bob? I've shown it with our group members. We've shown Worldpac double, triple, quadruple parts buying, and they still hesitate to invest in the where they need to invest.
Invest is the right word. They're using the word cost. That's the mistake.
Okay, so what if I think you're on the path to something here when you look at the connection of the shop to the parts people. So what if it were as simple as the parts people identified the shops that needed help? All the best shops are getting help.
Right.
Do you know how?
Know that. We know that.
Do you know that I've been struggling with this for 20 years with one of the major parts suppliers, and they still can't or won't make it happen?
What's their fear?
I have no idea, frankly. Their fear is that we couldn't handle coaching and consulting the shops because there's not enough of us or whatever. They don't understand that, through a group process, I can multiply my efforts and the efforts of my team and get great education to shops. They're not the people that I've dealt with are trying to sell parts, and they have quotas and all that, and they're focused in that area. Yeah. And when they could look at their shops and go, look, these are all the guys that are behind. And oh, by the way, if you want me to carry you for the next 90 days, you're going to take this class. I'll pay for it. You take it so that you can pay your bill in 90 days, right? Mm-hmm. But they haven't done that. Mm-hmm. I mean, even like the most simplest thing. We now have online classes. Here's a 2-hour class. Figure out your financials. It's not that hard. I don't know. I don't think we can. I think the parts guys have to be a part of it, but I don't think we as an industry can count on the parts guys. We need a strong association with focus goals.
Hey guys, I'm going to try to draw this to an end, and I don't see any end in sight because this dialogue is fabulous. It's necessary. It's needed, and I have two things to say. I don't know if it was you, Cecil, who mentioned $17 an hour. One of you guys mentioned I'm paying my guy $17.
That was Vic, but yeah,
it was Vic. Okay, and here it is, guys. $15 to flip burgers. Mm-hmm. At the fast food restaurant. So how, and that story has been out there. I guarantee you that the 85% we're talking about, Cecil, has heard that story, seen those signs everywhere. $15, $16, $7. And how could they then come back to their shop and realize that that's what they're paying their people?
They're trapped. They feel trapped. They feel like I've been in this business for 15 years. I can't figure it out. I'm going to have a job that's a pissy job that pays poorly for the rest of my life. And they're not willing to invest or able to see a real future.
And they don't have a business to sell too, because
they don't.
Here's the other problem that you have with the parts people. They're competitive. Everything has to be for their benefit, for their customers. I don't see that the parts people ever knock down the walls to say, we're, as an industry, we're going to help these shops be better.
That's why we need a strong group that will move forward, where the parts people are a piece of it.
It is so wrong, Bill, for a parts supplier to have that opinion, because if they can make their customer better, then they do what they end up doing best, and that would be selling more parts to them. So, yeah, there's all these crazy things. Guys, I had mentioned the word grassroots a while back. We've heard some comments in social media about it. And 2.5 years ago, I developed this thing that I felt so personal about, and I called it Adopt a Shop. And I may have sent it to one or two of you confidentially to look at or to read a while back, but it was all about a concept that we would be able to track and have a shop in the top 20%, 15-20% go out and drag someone over the line for us. And if they strike out and this is, I don't need any of your help, your competitor down the road, well, then great, you know where they're going and where they're going to end up being. But I believe there's people out there that want help, but they don't know how to get it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to ask for it. They could listen, but they can't solve. They can hear it, but they don't know what to do next. And I believe Adopt a Shop is a grassroots effort by taking that top 20%. And I know they're all givers in this industry. I interview them all. Why don't we, you know what? You got me thinking that maybe I need to go back, dust off that incredible concept that I created, and see how we could get that thing implemented. So, yeah, Charlie, thank you. Thanks everyone for being here, guys. This was great. Boy, it's every time we get together with the coaches, it's a 4th of July celebration style thing. Thanks to Bob Greenwood, CEO of the Automotive Aftermarket E-Learning Center, Vic Tarasic from shop owner coach Bill Haas Performance Consulting, and Cecil Bullard from the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence. Have a great holiday weekend. Thank you for your contributions.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.